All right, folks, today we're going to start looking at cellular energy. Now, fortunately for you, you don't have to go in great depth with cellular energy. You have to just know a little bit. So let's start by looking at the big picture for cellular energy. First of all, you have to understand the relationship between these molecules. We mentioned in the last unit this little guy right here, ATP, and we're going to look at ATP in just a second. But what you need to understand, we said in Unit 2 that glucose, right, is the main energy source for the cell. That's kind of true. Glucose is an energy source, but it's an energy source because it's going to be used to produce ATP. And ATP is what the cell actually spends. ATP can be broken down into ADP plus phosphate. Notice there's a double arrow here showing that the ADP and phosphate can actually be converted back to ATP. Let's put this in terms of an analogy, okay? Think of glucose like the paycheck, okay? This is the paycheck right here. So glucose, paycheck. Why? Because like a paycheck represents money, that's how glucose represents energy. You can't take your paycheck to the store and spend the actual physical check, right? You have to do something with that check before you can take money to the store, right? You have to cash that paycheck. That process of going from glucose to ATP is cellular respiration. That's like taking your paycheck to the bank, okay? That's that process. When you spend an ATP molecule, what you get back is change, right? Just like you get cash back or change back from spending cash. So ATP is like the cash that you got from cashing your paycheck, right? And ADP is the change that you get back when you spend the ATP. And just like you can put all your coins in a jar, right, and drop them off in a Coinstar machine and convert them back to paper money or gift cards, you can take this ADP and P and you can convert it back into ATP. Now, photosynthesis is the work that plants do to actually make the paycheck, okay? So that's making the paycheck. That's the job that you do to get the paycheck. There are a couple of more in-depth explanations of this on my website in a couple of different ways. So check that out if you need to, but that kind of summarizes, first of all, how these molecules relate to one another, but second of all, how photosynthesis and respiration relate. All right, it's time to talk ATP, right? ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and just like the name implies, tri means three, right? You've got three phosphates. Here's one, and here's one, okay? This is what an ATP molecule looks like here. This is called the adenosine unit, and you don't need to worry about the actual structure, but just know it's an adenosine with 1, 2, 3 phosphates. So 3 phosphates on this molecule. ATP can be broken down by releasing or taking off one of these phosphates. If I cut this bond right here, so just cut that off, right? The molecule that I get is adenosine diphosphate because now we have 2 phosphates on the molecule, and then you'd have this leftover phosphate. So that would be ADP plus P. So I can take ATP and I can break it down into ADP, adenosine diphosphate, for 2, right? 2, because it would have the 2 phosphates. And then there'd be this floating phosphate. When I do that, what I get is 7.6 kilocalories of energy released. So this is minus 7.6 kcals of energy. That's how much energy you get from an ATP molecule when you break it and spend the energy. If I take this and go backward now, and I put the phosphate back onto the ADP to reform this full ATP molecule, I'm going to store, so this is plus, we store 7.6 kilocalories of energy as a result. And that's how that molecule works and how you can take cash get the change from it. The change can be converted back to cash. All right, finally, let's look at how this relates to cellular respiration. And again, you're in terms of what you need to know. You have a very general kind of information that you have to know for cellular respiration. So your notes ask you a couple of pointed questions about cellular respiration. The first thing that you are asked is, who does cellular respiration? What's important to note is that all organisms do cellular respiration. Plants, yes. Plants are organisms. They do cellular respiration. Okay? It's important to note every organism on planet Earth does some form of cellular respiration. The where is the mitochondria, right? Remember, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, right? Well, that means it generates energy. In this case, what we're talking about is energy in the form of ATP. How does it do that? Through cellular respiration. Okay, so what does cellular respiration do? It generates energy in the form of that ATP molecule. All right, I've got the overall equation written for you down here at the bottom. Okay, so the needs are the things that are needed for this to happen, or what goes in, we call the reactants. Okay, and our reactants here are sugar, which is glucose, C6H12O6, and oxygen gas. Now notice what I've written here is aerobic respiration. Aerobic means with oxygen. All right, so that's what you need, or what went in. Okay, now what's coming out we call the products, right? And the products from this are mostly waste. Carbon dioxide and water are waste products from cellular respiration. The important thing that we're going to get here is right here, energy. ATP is generated through cellular respiration. Now, we'll worry in the next video about what the relationship is between this and the photosynthesis equation. For now, let's talk about the types of respiration then. You'll notice I highlighted aerobic respiration, that's with oxygen. That's what you're seeing in this equation, but some organisms don't have mitochondria, and they can do a different form of respiration. Sometimes even when you do silly things like go out and over-exercise without being properly trained, what happens is your breathing is not regular and you're not getting oxygen to your muscles efficiently, and so your muscles switch to the other side as well. That's called anaerobic respiration, okay, and that's without oxygen. So it starts out with respiration, but then it's going to end in a process called fermentation, and there are two types of fermentation. Animals have lactic acid fermentation. Bacteria also do this, so lactic acid is produced by bacteria. In fact, that's what gives yogurt its tangy taste, is lactic acid. In you, though, it causes cramps. In plants, fermentation ends with the production of ethyl alcohol, and therefore it's called alcoholic fermentation. So those are the two types. Now, in terms of which would you rather do, aerobic respiration gets you, depending on which book you look at, 36 to 38 ATP. Okay, that's a lot of ATP compared to anaerobic, which is going to get you 2 ATP. So which one would you rather do? Would you rather take your paycheck, your glucose, and get out of it $36 to $38, or would you rather take your paycheck, your glucose, and get $2 out of it? Obviously, aerobic respiration, where you get a bunch of ATP, is the one you want to do because it's the one that's going to be the most efficient. You're going to burn the glucose. You're going to use that burn to produce the most amount of ATP. So that's the one that most organisms choose to do.